Hey everyone, welcome back to Nick's Diecast. Today I'll be showing you and reviewing this 1/18 scale Volkswagen Beetle Cabriolet made by Kyosho. This is the first Kyosho model I've actually added to my collection, and I would say it's overall a really good model. And I can see why Kyosho is definitely considered one of the greats of high-end model car brands. So this model actually retails for around $95 on various sites online. You can find it in this really cool gold metallic color. It's actually called Moonrock Silver on the real car. It also comes with kind of a chocolate brown and also a bright red, all with this black interior that you see here. But I was actually able to get this model off of AmericanExcellence.com. They're a diecast car catalog and diecast distributor online. I got this for around $38. So I got it for more than half of its actual retail price. And I'd say for the price of a budget model car, for this high-end model, this is probably one of the best deals I've gotten in terms of a 1/18 scale die-cast vehicle. But I'm going to go ahead and show you all the details throughout because there are a lot. And there are many characteristics of this model that are excellent, but there are a couple that are kind of, I would say, concerning for its actual price of $95 that you wouldn't expect it to have. So I'm going to go ahead and get into the details here. We'll begin up at the front of the model. We'll start actually with this badge here. Kyosho actually did this VW badge as a separate metal piece. It's like a true badge. And that's really cool. You know, for pretty much every single budget model car, the badge is just like a painted on logo, even on some higher end models too. But on this one, Kyosho actually went the extra mile and did it in a separate like metal piece for their badge. And I think that's really cool. It looks really good, especially from a distance too. It looks amazing. The headlights overall look very good. Kyosho did a great job with this LED kind of C-shaped pattern on the side there, as well as the actual chrome bulb in the center there. No pegs to be seen whatsoever. The overall fit and finish of the headlight is really well done, especially with the metal portions of the body on the car. This lower grille here, on the other hand, it's not actually a see-through grille. It's partially a see-through grille, but Kyosho just kind of stopped the grille kind of midway through here. So from a distance, so up close it doesn't really look that great, but from a distance it does look like a true grille. They did a nice job with these indicator lights down here. They're painted silver, and there's like a fog light down there as well. This chrome strip you see along here is a separate piece, and it looks like it's metal too. They did a really good job with that. It's not actually metal, it's plastic, but it has the imitation of metal. Paint quality on this model, I would say, is completely flawless. Kyosho nailed this Moonrock Silver color that's offered on the real Beetle, both on the coupe and the convertible. No rough areas whatsoever. It looks excellent. Moving along to the wheels, Kyosho, I would say, did a really good job with the traditional-looking 5-spoke wheels that are offered on the real Beetle. These disc brakes you see back here are made of real metal, and the calipers are done in plastic. And the disc brake does move through the wheels too, which is really cool to see. The disc brakes are a little bit loose, but that's because they're metal pieces. But unless you're like holding the car and kind of moving it around a little bit, you won't notice that they're a little bit noisy when they move. Kyosho added a nice chrome strip to both the lower portion of the side of the car and on the upper portion near the top of the door. Again, they look like metal, but they aren't actually made of metal. That's really cool. Moving along to the rear, Kyosho did another really cool looking VW badge in a separate metal piece. Looks very good. And the taillights overall, they did a great job with those. The turn signals are separate plastic pieces as opposed to being painted on. They have this German license plate back here. This bumper back here is actually plastic, and I don't know if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing. I can tell you though that you can't tell that it's plastic unless you touch it, because the paint is perfectly applied to both the plastic bumper, and so it goes from metal here to plastic down here. But you can't even tell, even up close, that they're made of separate types of materials, because the paint is completely flawless throughout both areas. These lower exhaust pipes down here are hollow, and they are painted in silver as opposed to chrome like you would see on any budget model car. Very good overall. So Kyosho actually gives you this door opener tool with your model, and I believe this comes with the coupe version of the Beetle too. And this is to actually open up this rear trunk piece back here. I'm just going to go ahead and open that up. It is a bit hard to do with one hand, as you can see right now. I'm going to put this down for a quick second. There we go. So the trunk, of course, does open back here, and it is fully carpeted. You can kind of see a little bit of felt there. And the trunk goes all the way back to the back of the seats here. And the carpeting is actually really nice. It's not like it isn't like flaky or anything like that. It feels like actual carpeting that would be on the real car. That's very, very impressive. This closes up like so. You can't really open it with this spoiler back here because the spoiler is done in kind of like a thin plastic, which is a bit disappointing. Would have been nice to have them if they had done it in kind of like a metal, so you would be able to, one, open the trunk easier, and two, it would like look better in terms of quality. Moving along to the engine compartment, we'll open up the hood, take a look at the engine. Not much to see in terms of engine components. The real car, you can't really see much in there either. But what is here, Kyosho, I would say, did a good job with in terms of detail. There's a Volkswagen badge that's a separate piece on this main engine block here. It says TSI to the right of that. You can see like the washer fluid and whatnot back here. All the other components, though, are just kind of done in this black plastic. It would have been nice to maybe see a little bit more color in here and whatnot. And it's done in a couple plastic pieces. You know how like on budget models, there's just like one flat plastic piece. That's not the case in here, but I wish there was maybe a little bit more detail, especially for its actual retail price of $95. On the other hand, the entire underside of the hood is painted with the same metallic color as the outside. It isn't like rough or flat or anything like that. We'll close that up. And the hood does open and close nice and neat too. When you turn the car upside down, it doesn't just fall open, and neither does the trunk like you would on like any other model. So that's a cool extra feature, I would say. And speaking of extra features, I'm going to go ahead and show you another cool aspect of this model. So this model actually comes with a removable soft top, as you can see right here. So to put on the soft top, all you got to do is just pull off this rear tonneau cover, and then just put the top on like so. And it really does kind of add to the appearance of the car. It looks good both with the top up and top down. A lot of convertibles, you can't really say that about, but on this one, it does look good, I would say, with both the top on and the top off. Now, one kind of bothersome aspect is that it doesn't clip into place or anything like that. It just kind of sits on the car, so it is very loose when you move it. I wish it maybe clipped into place, because this piece actually clips into place when you put it on, but the top, if you turn the car upside down, it'll just fall off. So I wish they maybe made a little bit more effort in making a top that stays on. We'll go ahead and remove this, and I'll put this piece back on. Now for the interior. We'll go ahead and open up the doors. The doors open nice and wide. They don't just like stop at a certain point. They open up all the way, which is nice to see. The seats are excellent in terms of detail. They look and feel like they're made of like this rubbery leather material, and they do move a little bit too. If you run your finger on it, they feel like they're like true car seats, which is a really excellent touch. The seat belts are done as separate fabric pieces. The buckles aren't metal, they're plastic, but they look like real seatbelt buckles. Really, really cool touch. Again, both seats kind of move. They don't actually fold or anything like that, but they do move. And the rear seats have that same kind of like rubbery leather texture to them. That's really cool. Kyosho didn't just use like straight up plastic. They use like rubber. They use a different material for the seats than they did with the rest of the car on the inside, which is incredible. It looks really good, especially for $38. For a deal like that, that alone I would say is worth getting the model. Detailing on the door panels is also excellent overall. Kyosho did the door handles as separate pieces, and this up here is plastic, but it's painted like the exterior of the car, so it looks like it's made out of the same kind of metal, the same die-cast metal that the outside is made out of. And the speaker could use a little bit more detail maybe, but they did at least make the perimeter of it silver. There's this chrome detailing here. And the door pockets are actually true door pockets, which is another cool touch. I don't see any window buttons per se. Would have been nice if they maybe put on some window buttons. I think they might be located next to the door handle here, but you can't really see them. Would have been nice if they had done that well. And the mirrors, I forgot to mention, they're very sturdy. They would probably be impossible to remove or even to break off if this were to like be dropped or fall into the hands of a kid or anything like that. So that's cool to see. Oh, and the windshield is actually made out of metal. The whole thing is made from metal, so you can actually hold the car with the windshield without risking it breaking off. Now here's where the detailing is a slight bit disappointing for me. So the center console here, it looks pretty good overall. The vents are nicely done, but the buttons really aren't colored in at all. And I don't know why that would be, especially the fact that this model retails for around like $95. I would really be expecting the buttons to be colored in. So that's pretty disappointing. I wish they maybe put more effort into that, but they didn't. But for $38 with everything else that in terms of detail, it's not a huge deal. But for $95, you have to be careful with that. I'm not sure why they didn't just color in the buttons, but maybe it's just a defect. I don't know, but it's disappointing to see that, I would say. The dashboard itself, though, Kyosho did a nice leather pattern on the top portion, and they did this nice, cool body color kind of facing on it with the front of it, which looks really, really cool. The steering wheel looks excellent in terms of detail. That badge in the middle is a separate piece. It's not metal, it's plastic, but it certainly looks like it's made of metal. They did a nice job with the buttons and like the memory controls and whatnot. And the gauge cluster also looks really good as well. The shifters, they did a nice job on, and the parking brake. The parking brake actually has a separate little button on the very top of it, which is cool to see. And the cup holders you can see here are trimmed in chrome. There is, of course, carpeting on the interior. If you run your finger along it, feels like actual, feels like carpeting that would be on the actual car, which is a really, really cool touch. Just excellent overall, especially for under $40. This model is an excellent deal. The pedals you can't really see at all because they're done in black. I might actually go in there and paint them silver just so they add to like the appearance of the interior. But they're nicely done. They have kind of a texture to them that the real pedals would have on the real car. Let's get another shot of the center of the interior. Just beautiful overall. It's a shame that the buttons aren't colored in, but from like a far distance, it doesn't matter too much. When you look at it up close, it does kind of take away from the detail and the price, I would say, for sure. We'll close that up. Detailing the undercarriage. Kyosho did a fairly good job with. Instead of chrome, they used silver paint for the exhaust system. You can see kind of the braces and like the casings and whatnot, and the heat shielder and everything. So they did a good job with that. Not that you're going to be looking underneath that much in the first place. Overall, for the really good deal that I got this at, I would say it was totally worth my $38. But if you're paying the regular retail price of $95 for this, I would say watch out in terms of like the detail with like the center console and the fact that this kind of just falls off when you turn the car around. But from the distance, this model just looks excellent. And the seats are excellent. There's many features of this model that are just excellent in terms of detail. It's just those two, I guess, pet peeves of mine, where the buttons aren't colored in and where the top just kind of falls off, where it might detract from its overall pricing and everything like that. But if you get this off of AmericanExcellence.com, as of yesterday, they still have this on sale for $38. So I would act quickly. And if you're into, convertibles, if you want and if you want a Beetle in your collection, I would say a Beetle would look good in any die-cast collection, and I would say that you should definitely purchase this model. It would look good next to any other, any convertible or like any kind of European car, especially if you have like an old Beetle too. As always, thanks for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and let me know, I guess, your thoughts on this model in the comments once I post this. And then, as always, be sure to follow my Instagram page, Nick's Diecast page. That's all lowercase with no spaces. And as always, be sure to subscribe. And yeah, I'm glad to have reviewed my first Kyosho model. So I'll go ahead and end things off with the front of the smiling face grille on the Beetle here. Thanks as always for watching.